Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Diep with the Deep Dive, and today I will be recommending to you 3 essential A24 horror movies. So let's not waste any time here, because we all know at this point there's a certain formula to A24 films where it's about 2 acts of build-up, followed by a third act of utter chaos. But these 3 particular films do it well, or do it just differently enough for me to recommend to you. The first essential A24 horror film is Robert Eggers' The Witch. Now, spoiler warning right off the bat, if you are queasy with witchcraft and demonic thematical elements, this movie might freak you the hell out, especially if you don't like the idea of dead babies. But if you want a good horror film that establishes a dreary gray atmosphere with solid performances and built-up tension and horror for 90 straight minutes, then this is the perfect film to watch for Halloween. Just based off the first 10 minutes alone, this movie does not mess around. It simply starts off by telling you that the faith of this New England family is being challenged by the supernatural forces of witchcraft and maybe the devil itself. The most haunting aspect of this film is how it collides the strict and repressive patriarchal religious practices of Puritan society with the forces of dark nature through the encounters with the witch. There are strange, bizarre images with subtext of sexuality, purity, and religious extremism that's equal parts disturbing and straight up diabolical. The score is fantastic, building up a feel of elevated horror as the fate of this family gets progressively worse. The cinematography and production design are nearly flawless given the world we're presented in, and the dialogue and performances are spectacular, specifically that of Ralph Ineson, who plays the highly religious father, and Harvey Scrimshaw, who plays the younger brother in the family. This also has one of the most disturbing and amazing possession sequences I've ever seen. If you've seen this movie, then you know what scene that I'm talking about, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. The only warning I'll give you is that you might need subtitles when it comes to dialogue, specifically when it comes to the character of the father. He has a very strong, heavy dialect, and Eggers didn't really hold back in terms of writing the dialogue that was most authentic to how the language is spoken at that time. If you want to check it out, it's available on Hulu and Amazon Prime with a premium subscription. Check this one out. The second essential A24 horror film is Ari Aster's Hereditary. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this one, but I will say that this is one of the better horror films to be released in the past decade. Even though for the past couple years since its release, there's been a lot of annoying fans who act like this is like the greatest horror movie ever made. It's not. But it is pretty damn good given that we've been given shit for the past decade. It's got great performances, particularly from Toni Collette as a mother trying to prevent a disastrous, supernatural, and even devil-like event from cursing her family. What is it with A24 and the devil? Are they run by cultists or something? There are a lot of great imagery going on in the film, and genuine moments of uneasiness that took me back to how I felt when watching The Witch. Now, The Witch is a better film, but what I really loved most about Hereditary was its ability to be a good drama about family tension as well as a good horror movie. The idea of guilt and shame and hopelessness of being able to forgive each other for our actions, even when it's not entirely one person's fault, but dealing with the reality of the situation presented as more secrets and evil elements come out. It's a very balanced screenplay by Ari Aster, and it's pretty impressive given that this was his first actual feature film screenplay. And I really enjoyed the character of Toni Collette and how consistent and inconsistent her personality is throughout the movie. She's a mother who's stuck and in grief over the events that unfold in the film, but she still has an undying love for her family despite her grievances towards them. This was honestly the beginning of the A24 cliche, where the final act of the film is all everyone ever talks about, but it's one of the few films that actually has a pretty good lead up to its own finale. It's a shame that Ari Aster followed this up with his pretentious, boring, and uninspired Midsommar, because it seems now that he's stuck with this heavily favored theme of broken families and being accepted into something following grief and tragedy, so I hope whatever project he does next, it's different from this. And I'm sorry if you like Midsommar, but I only have one question if you do. Why? Go check out Hereditary. It's available on Amazon Prime with a subscription. The third and final A24 essential horror film is Gaspar Noé's 2018 psychological horror film Climax. Gaspar Noé, or Gaspar Noé, is known for making films that are slightly controversial in their themes and subject matter, so it's certainly an acquired taste. However, Climax is an interesting watch from beginning to end. It's a psychedelic trip about a group of dancers who go from celebrating a rehearsal to being engaged in a drug-induced nightmare of agitation and confusion, fueled by someone who may have spiked their sangria with LSD. What follows is an improvised, yes, a nearly completely improvised narrative where characters murder, dance, and flip out on each other. The cinematography and direction by Noé is once again pretty spot on. Noé, is able to film sequences in ways that are technical, eye candy, and ambitious at the same time. Although the film is nowhere near his best, the film is relentless in its pursuit of what feels like a never-ending hip-hop horror choreography of insanity and absurdism. Check this one out for a weird time. This is also available on Amazon Prime with a premium subscription. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything to me, and it'll help me continue to produce more content.